One Governor Spanberger signature away from becoming the first state in the country to have a bill regulating how January 6th and the 2020 presidential election can be taught in public schools. And this follows an executive order signed during Governor Youngkin's term to end the use of DEI programs within the state's public education system. And caught in the middle of the political tug of war are teachers. So joining us now is Shelley Norden, Executive Director with the School Board Member Alliance of Virginia, and someone who was a teacher for more than 20 years. Shelley, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And just a disclaimer for everyone at home, we're not here to debate DEI or what happened on January 6th, but we do want to talk about how this is impacting teachers. Let's start with what you're hearing from teachers in response to this bill.
I think that it cuts both ways. You got teachers on both sides of the political aisle, and ultimately it's up to Virginia school boards to ensure that these politics aren't entering our classroom on either side. And that's why School Board Member Alliance started, was to help prepare school board members and help train them how to get the politics out of the schools. Teachers are being put in a tough spot, and a lot of teachers are leaving because of the politics that are embracing our classrooms.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I know we've had, over the last few years, we've seen efforts under Youngkin to pay teachers more to fight a teacher shortage. According to the Virginia Department of Education, these efforts have been helping with that. But is this bill running contrary to that work in your eyes?
Absolutely. I think that anything that you bring into the schools that's politically motivated it hurts education. A lot of what I'm seeing coming in now is coming in through the teacher unions. And again, not everybody is part of that union, but you go into the ICE walkouts, for example. The School Board Member Alliance made sure that we provided our school board members with policies, strong policies, to make sure that these ICE walkouts weren't happening during the instructional day. There are a lot of teachers that want safer streets. They want our local police departments working together with ICE. So again, anytime you got any type of orchestrated event like that, you're alienating half of your teaching staff.
In your eyes, from someone who comes from a longtime teaching background, who speaks with teachers, how might a teacher best teach any historic event? I guess in a perfect world, who or what would be dictating what teachers teach?
Well, ultimately, it's the local school boards. They have a ton of legal power to determine what their teachers are going to teach in the classroom. I think that boards need to step in, and really it helps teachers more if they put these guardrails in place to make sure, that they're using textbooks that are aligned with the local community. I think it all comes down to the local level ultimately.
Local decisions. Shelley, I have to be very transparent here. I grew up as the daughter of two educators. I'm pretty vocal about that. Not here in Virginia, but I know a good teacher spends a lot of out-of-pocket money on not just resources, but, spends their time and emotional investment on their students. What kind of changes and challenges have educators faced in Virginia, even just from the pandemic on?
Oh, gosh. There's been so many. I think one of the biggest ones that I'm hearing, so I left the classroom in 2021, so it was kind of at the tail end of the pandemic. But I think one of the biggest problems that I'm hearing from teachers are discipline issues that are not being addressed. Students that are acting out in the classroom, teachers are complaining and nothing is being done. I know of one instance where a teacher actually had to, she complained about being attacked by a student. The division didn't do anything, so the teacher ended up going and getting a restraining order against the child in order to protect herself. So I think that the discipline is one of the biggest issues right now that needs to be addressed. There's several, but that's probably the main one.
And Shelley, lastly, what should teachers currently, you mentioned teachers maybe being deterred from the profession, turning away, going, I don't want politics in the classroom. What should teachers do in response to something like this? How should a current teacher move forward?
Well, I think a lot of this legislation that I'm watching coming down from Richmond, the January 6th, for example, that is only required to be taught that way if you teach it. So people have an option on what they're going to teach. And in this instance, don't teach the January 6th if it doesn't go along with, what you saw with your own eyes. We saw plenty of video footage from that day. I think that really just kind of going along with, you got to trust your gut and know it's right. And and really rely on your local board to kind of help you along the way.
Shelley Norton, Executive Director with the School Board Member Alliance of Virginia, former longtime teacher, 20 years. Shelley, thank you so much for joining us live on WJLA.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Yep.
All right. And we do want to get